Alright, we have some more walls to put in, so from this view and perspective I want to put in the back wall, which is actually the west-hand wall. Now, the way I want to do this is with geometry mode, just to kind of show you a new way to do this, something we haven't really explored just yet. If you activate geometry mode and take a look over here in your geometry tools window, you're going to see a radio button labeled pen. Pen mode allows you to draw out shapes for your red builder brush. It's a really, really cool system, very easy way to make brushes very quickly. Now I'm going to have a few settings already set up here, so auto extrude, go ahead and leave that on. And take your extrude depth and set that to 512, which is the height of our walls. Now, here in the top view, in fact, let's go ahead and expand the top view, make it really big. So I'm going to click on the Maximize Viewport button, and I'm going to zoom over here to the west-hand side. And you'll notice that while we're in pen mode, that I'm getting this little tiny white square, which is chasing my cursor around on the grid. What I want to do is put my cursor, that little white square, right here at just the inside edge of where I want this wall to begin, because I want this wall to fit right in between my north and south walls. So we're going to start off by putting the square right here at the corner and tap the spacebar. It creates a little tiny red dot right there. And now, as I drag the cursor around, we're getting a little rubber band line that shows us where the edge of the wall is going to be. So let's run it right down to the opposite corner and tap spacebar again. So we have one face kind of defined. I'm just going to move over one grid space to the right and tap spacebar a third time. And then we'll come straight up so that we're one grid space away from our first point, tap spacebar again, and technically we're done. If we want to close this, we can go right back to our initial point and tap spacebar one final time, and we're finished. So let me go ahead and switch right back to camera mode. We'll demaximize the viewport, and now take a look over here in perspective and see what we've done. We've created a wall that fits perfectly in between our north and south walls. It's just a little bit up in the air right now, which we can fix in a side view just by sliding down. What I'm going to do is right-click on the lower right-hand vertex of the wall, and we'll just slide that down, set it right on the floor, and we're good to go. So that was really quick and easy. Now let's click the CSG Add button again, and that will add this in as a new piece of geometry. Now, I'd like to create a central wall to kind of divide the room in half. So what I'm going to do is slide this red builder brush off to the right here in the top view, and what I want to do is make sure that from the inside of one wall to the inside of the next wall we have 1024 units. So I'm going to maximize the viewport one more time to make things easy to see, and we can just measure out real quick. Right now we are at 960, and we need to move over two more grid spaces, it looks like, to get right over to 1024, so we'll snap that over, do one last measure, and that's exactly where I want it to be. So there should be 1024 units from the inside of one wall to the inside of the next. Go ahead and click CSG Add one more time. Now, our last wall that we're actually going to add in, I'm going to continue sliding the red builder brush over, and I'm going to fit it right in between these two beveled edges that we see here that we created earlier. So you see how it just kind of fits nicely right in between those, like so. I'm going to put it right there and click Add one final time. We'll demaximize this viewport, and let's take a look at what we've created here in perspective. So we have these three walls that we've used. Now, we're going to be editing the far east wall a little bit later, so let's go ahead and slide the red builder brush out of the way. We won't worry too much about that, but I do want to take a moment and focus on this central wall. It's nice, but I would like some sort of a doorway, because right now we've actually divided our level into these two completely exclusive chambers where we can't actually see one side of the level from the other side. We need a doorway, a passageway to jump in between the two. So I'm going to right-click on my cube builder brush yet again. Now, let's set some settings in here. For X, we are going to use 512. For Y, we're going to use 32, which is the thickness of our wall. And then for Z, we're also going to use, actually, let's not use 512. Let's change that. I'm sorry. We're going to set this to 256. 512 is a little big. So 256, 32 in Y, and 256 for Z. Click Build and Close. And over here is our red builder brush. Now, this is a nice size for a door. I just need to get it positioned accordingly. So I'm actually going to position this just in the orthographic views. So here in the top view, I'll slide it over so it fits right inside my wall. And take a look at this. It doesn't actually want to fit right inside the wall. Our grid settings aren't allowing it, but if we take a close look, the red builder brush is not actually on the grid. So make sure you right-click a corner of the brush, and that'll snap it right to the grid, and everything is good. Now, you want to center this up right in between the top and bottom walls. So if you want to, take a moment and just measure that out by dragging with the middle mouse button. We have 384 on one side and 384 on the other side. So that's centered up. Also, make sure you go into a side view and verify that the red builder brush sits right on the floor. So now if we come into perspective, you can actually see the red builder brush defining an area that will carve out nicely for the door. Now all we have to do is go over to the toolbox on the left-hand side, and this time we'll hit CSG Subtract. Click that, and it carves a nice hole out for us. So there we go. We have most of a level now. We've got essentially 4 walls. We've got a little divider wall in between, along with a doorway to allow us to pass from one side to the other. Our lighting is getting a little bit harder to read, though, because we have these 2 distinct chambers. So what I'm going to do is select my light, kind of center it up in one room, then hold down the Alt key and drag a copy of the light. Holding down Alt will duplicate. Or drag a copy over here to the other chamber. So now both of these chambers are nicely lit. So at this point, go ahead and save your level, and then we'll continue from here, and we'll take a look at how we can edit the east-hand wall so it kind of follows this beveled shape that we had in the floor.